everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Mission Snapshot. We are so thankful that you joined us today. Hannah is over at the table on the other side over there where you can't see her. She's managing the Facebook feed. So if you have questions or comments, just drop them down below and she will respond to you. Also, she will be putting in links throughout the show to various other things for you to watch. So keep an eye out on that. So today, I'm privileged again to have Jon Wood back with us. He's taking time out of his busy schedule to talk about a project that is near and dear to both of our hearts. So today, our story is going to come from Mumbai, and here's a picture of the map to show you where Mumbai is on the east coast. And then where we're going is in Chembur. West Coast. Sorry. It is West Coast.
Yeah.
I get them backwards all the time. I always think Mumbai is on the East Coast. Please forgive me, it's on the West Coast. And on this map that you're seeing, the little red circle is where Chembur is in Mumbai, and that's where we're headed. And then even closer, we are headed to that red dot. So Jon, what is that red dot?
There is a church there. It's a two-story church.
It's a two-story church,
Yes.
Okay. And we're talking about this two-story church. Why? What is special about this church?
My family first visited in 2011. And there was a thriving community of believers there worshiping, and we had a wonderful connection with the people, with the Bible worker. There was a JFA Bible worker there at the time.
Wow.
She still works for us in Mumbai.
Yes.
And then the year after, they had told us that the property was very dangerous. And the year after that, the city came in and condemned it and closed it.
Oh, wow. So they weren't meeting there anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I had a burden back in 2011 to try to raise funds to rebuild that church.
Right. Yeah. And so we learned last year when we were in Mumbai that they are renting a Methodist church for this group to meet in. But the problem is that the church is too far away for the majority of the members to go there.
Right.
So they've been without a church for a little while.
7 years.
For 7 years, yeah, without a church building.
And the sad thing is that, so much in Mumbai, it's a international city. It's cosmopolitan.
Right.
So everything's very expensive.
Yes.
And so they measure property in cents. And 1 cent is 1/100th of 1 acre.
Wow.
So you pay a certain amount per cent.
Oh.
And so even though the church is extremely poor, I mean, they were praying. There's another church that they were wanting to add a second story on.
Right.
And they were praying for 7 years for $8,000.
Wow.
Never got it.
No, and many of us wouldn't even pay $8,000 for a used car because we would be concerned about the condition of the car.
Reliable, yeah.
And so, yeah.
And so we raised those funds, and you got to be there.
I got to be
on
there
the opening night.
Right, and there is an episode, a JFA Now episode that has that in there, and it talks about this Chembur church as well.
Right.
And Hannah will place a link down below to that JFA Now episode so you can see all the details of how many people they actually fit into that tiny little space in Tani. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like shape-shifting. So I wanted to share with people, just to give a little bit more context, this is the typical look of a street in Mumbai here. And then the church, you have to go down an alley. I don't know if this is the exact alley, but this is where you all got off your out of the auto.
Looking across the street. The alley is right behind us.
Yep. But it's an alley similar to that you have to go down.
Yep.
And then this is the alley.
That's the alley
toward the church, and the church gate is at the back.
It's beyond that. You see that black water tank.
It's way
back.
Way in the back. So they have to go quite a ways to get into the church.
Right.
And so what's coming up next is a short video that you put together after our visit last year.
Okay.
So that people can see a little bit more about the Chembur Church, and then we'll have a little bit more discussion before we go.
Okay.
Okay?
there were 50 people meeting in this building, and we've got like 5 or 6 Jesus for Asia Bible workers surrounding this area. But for the last 6 years, the government came in and they checked out the building and they condemned it because it's unsafe. Any moment this floor could fall out from under us. So they've closed it, they've shuttered it, so they have to come in and they have to totally demolish this entire building and start from scratch. And it's really, really sad to come back here now in 2019 and see the place shuttered and got cobwebs. Church members locally keep coming back, and they're sad that the place is closed. They miss their place of worship on Sabbaths, and so this community is a real opportunity to make a difference. One of the things that we were thinking about doing is that India has a very high rate of diabetes. In fact, driving down the street, I've seen diabetes center. And so I was thinking that maybe this could be a health center focusing on diabetes, healthy living. We could sell healthy snacks because this area, they manufacture a lot of snacks. Most of them are deep fried. So we could do lectures on diabetes, have a diabetes center, maybe hire some local people, Sabbath keepers, so that they can have Sabbaths off, and to make healthy snacks. I mean, there's just a lot of possibilities here. We can build a 3-story building. First floor can be a shop or a store. Second floor can be a church, and then the third floor can be the quarters for the pastor or the Bible worker or something like that. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Let's pray about this. They have to draw up some plans, get some estimates about what this is going to cost, but let's pray and see how God works.
So wow, that looks like a condemned building, and in this short video, you did not show the wall that kind of moves in and out, that if it fell over, people would fall right off out into the street. So that was pretty bad. And I know that the church there really wants to rebuild that church, and you were talking about even adding a third level to it. So what vision do you have that you want to share?
Well, it's in a community, very densely populated area.
Yes.
And one of the biggest challenges that they have in India is health, diabetes, heart disease, those kinds of things.
They do.
So it would, I mean, the Adventist Church is well known for our health message.
Yes.
So if we could have a type of center of influence there, that would be like a healthy lifestyle clinic, not necessarily maybe a hospital or an official clinic, but it would be something where we could help the people with their health, but also sell like healthy snacks, and do some education to get people in. So what I'm thinking is, like, right now it's 2-story. They have the second story is where they meet for church. So I'd like to have, and then obviously it's very difficult to find place for pastors to stay in the city. You know, a full-fledged administrative pastor makes about $200 a month.
Wow.
And you can easily pay $200, $250 or $600 for a rental. And we went into an American drink chain, cafe type of chain, and we were going to buy him the friend that was with me. He says, I'll buy you a fruit smoothie, and he looked at the price. He says, no, that's 2.5 days food budget for my entire family. I don't want to develop a taste for something that I can't have.
That story blew me away, that smoothie he looked at as so exorbitant that he couldn't do that, and we would not think twice about
well, I would, but I don't,
well,
you know, so if we could do a 3-story, so the top floor would be living quarters, second floor would be the church, and the first floor would then be this clinic, this center of influence, where we could start connecting with the community and offering help and connecting with people in need.
You mentioned healthy snacks, and I think one thing for people who may not have gone to India is that they fry everything. And so any snack that you purchase is really deep fried bread and seasoning and something else.
Right.
And so that's what they can afford. And so it would be helpful to be able to provide them with food that would be just as tasty but without all the fat.
Yeah.
And the other thing for the poorer people, they need help in learning how to regain health naturally because they don't have money to go to a hospital. They don't have money for gyms. They don't have money for things like that. Well, so using God's remedies is
and not only that, but they don't, even if they went to the hospital, they'd be given some pills or you know, the understanding of how to manage this using just lifestyle remedies.
Right. That's much, it's healthier for them,
right.
but B, it fits within their pocketbook of being able to afford it. So the Lifestyle Center would not only come alongside them and show them a different way, but would help support them in their choices to be able to help that. So I think that's really great, and I would love to see that. But the interesting thing that we didn't point out when the map was up is that just behind this very poor area is a presidential golf course of Mumbai. So it's the riches next to the people who are so poor and need the help and the education and to know Jesus. Most importantly, above all.
What's interesting is we look at this area and we think, well, this is like sub-poverty level.
Right.
But it's actually considered more middle income.
Which is, that's what the president of the section said. And I was like, okay, but that's how they view it. So there are people that are poorer than this group. But this is this middle income.
Yeah, just to give an idea, middle income would be like $100, $150, $200 a month.
Right.
The poverty level there is about $1.26 a day.
Wow.
So that's about $45 a day. I mean, a month.
Wow.
So if you make less than 45, I mean, here, 45 a month, what's that? $500, $600 a year.
Yeah.
So the poverty level in America is more in the $8,000 to $12,000 range. And so when we talk about poverty, it's not even...
Right. It's so far below the poverty level here in the U.S. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And our Bible workers earn between that poverty level and the middle class.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's just to give you an idea of the
poverty.
what we're talking about there. But even still, so you can imagine a church with that kind of income level trying to build in a city that's internationally priced.
Right, yeah. For people who may not know or are not connecting the dots, Bollywood is in Mumbai.
Right.
So it's like the Los Angeles,
New York
level, and so the wealthy live in Mumbai, along with the largest slum. Second largest slum in the world is in Mumbai, next to Bollywood. So it's a city of contrasts.
Right.
And all income levels, and a lot of people come from the country to get to the city for jobs if they can't make their farms work or the rain hasn't come or something, so they do that. So there's this whole big mixture of people that live there in the city, as with any other city that we have in the world. And so this is very important to help the people in that community. So before we wrap up, could you speak a little bit about the importance of having a church? Why is that important? We've talked about the health concerns and the need for a community lifestyle center, but the church, why is that important?
Well, there's several reasons. Number one is that being in a social, everything's in the East, in Asia. It's all about the social connection. So having a place to worship is huge. And in addition to that, they come from a religion, the Hinduism. They got very fancy temples and places to worship.
And they're gold. They're painted not a gold color, but they're decorated with gold. These temples to the gods who don't see or hear them.
Right. And so they look at our religion and say, wow, your God can't even look what our God's provided us. We can't even provide you. You know, then your God must not be real.
Right. And so it's not that we're trying to build cathedrals for God.
No.
and you can be simple and yet honoring God.
Right.
It's the broken down, and if you saw in that video with things hanging from the ceiling and the porch not being said it's not safe, that tells the people that God can't help them.
Right.
And that why would I join this religion if
Right.
the God is so weak that he can't even provide a home for himself?
Exactly. And it also, I think, communicates the message that we don't really care.
Right. That our God isn't worthy of a nice place to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even an open place.
Yeah.
A place that's open. It just
Right.
kills me that this has been closed for 7 years.
I know.
And if we don't do something, what will happen is the government will come in and say, hey, you can't take care of this, your own property.
Right.
We'll use it for something else.
Right.
And we'll lose it.
And they will, because
Yeah.
if you haven't shown that you need the building, well, obviously you don't. And
Right.
so they'll take it,
Right.
eminent domain, whatever, if they have
that,
it in
that
you.
has happened already in other parts of Asia.
Yeah, so it's very, so the church is important for the believers who come out of Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
They need a support system.
Yes.
Because they're leaving generations of their home life that's been surrounded through Hinduism.
Right.
And so they're not worshiping with their family anymore.
Right.
They're worshiping with a new family.
Yeah.
And so they need that to learn more about Jesus, to learn what does it mean to be a Christian? How
Yeah.
do you live?
You're right.
What does that look like on a daily basis?
And a lot of times they don't read.
Right.
And so they don't, and so the spoken word is oftentimes the only way they can learn.
Right.
And so if you don't have somebody, being a pastor or being a Bible worker that can speak the word into their lives, then they're left out on the limb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the church is important. The center of influence is important, and a place to stay is important.
Yes.
As you mentioned, we've already talked about the cost and how wonderful it would be to have a place where people could go.
Yeah.
So it's an important project for a group of people who haven't had that for a while.
Right.
And the gospel can go from there to the families, because those who come into the city for work still have family.
Yeah.
And so by supporting this, we're helping untold numbers of people back home.
Yes. Yes. It's like putting a pebble in a pond. It's gonna, you never know what that seed is gonna grow into.
Right. But the exciting part of heaven is going to be finding out all the people who were influenced by this and brought to Jesus.
Now this project is close on your heart. In fact, you're willing to do something special in your own life for this project.
Yeah. So do you want me to share that or keep it? Okay.
You can or I can.
You go ahead.
So in our own human estimation and in prayer and stuff, we took a whole morning last week to just focus on praying. And this was one of the main topics of prayer, of the 3 hours of prayer.
Right.
And during that prayer, you know how God comes in and kind of lays out a plan.
Yes.
One of those things in the plan that he laid out was to have somebody go there and be there to learn the situation, to interact with the people, see what the need is, and communicate that back home so that we would have a greater awareness.
Right.
You know, we hear that there's lost people overseas, but who are they? What do they look like? What are their stories? We know nothing about them.
Right.
We're not engaged with them. They're not a burden on our heart. You know, our local church is a burden on our heart because we know about it. We see it when we go there. We meet the people that worship there. We see the importance of what happens when the word comes into the congregation, and we see all that. So it's it's like it's like my thumb is very big when it's close to me, but when it's like 20 feet away, it's very small. And this is what happens with a project like this.
Right.
And so I said, we need somebody to go there, and you're like,
I'll go.
Exactly.
To go to Mumbai and be there to meet the people, introduce the people, because I know from myself going to India in the past, and you've mentioned this too, that they're no longer statistics, they're people.
Right.
Because you've eaten in their homes or you've walked down the road with them, you've prayed with them, so they become people.
Right.
And the people who work in the section office are very dear to me because I met them and I heard their stories and the Bible workers and all. So I'm willing to go. we'll see how the country opens up and all of that and timing and all that. But yeah, I would love to be there.
Yeah, and you've been there several times, but not all of your trips have been really positive.
No, not all of my trips have been very positive, but the trip to Mumbai was. Yeah. But that's what happens when you're traveling overseas and working in the Lord's work. Satan comes along and kicks you.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But we know the leadership that's there in Mumbai right now, and we have a great deal of respect and appreciation for them. And
I do. I have a lot of respect, and I know you do because you work with him even closer and with the staff there and all that. But I'm really glad. So if you're interested in supporting the Chembur project, we need to raise funds for the building, and then we can look at obtaining perhaps some additional funding for the running and operations of the center, but we have to get the building built first. So if Hannah hasn't already done so, she's going to drop a link below for the direct project for donating towards this. So if that's something that's on your heart, that would be great. Otherwise, if there are other projects that you are interested in from Jesus for Asia, we invite you to go to the website, jesusforasia.org. Hang out there for a little bit. We have over 60 projects. There's something there that will resonate with you. And if not, then pray through on the invest page. Just scroll down and pray for each of the projects, because that is also incredibly valuable, more valuable than funding. So we encourage your prayers. So we thank you for joining us today. And this has been your Mission Snapshot.